Hello everyone, Tina here. Welcome to Card Making Fundamentals and welcome to the Butterflies and Borders classroom. We're going to create our final card today. We're going to be using lesson kit number 4 from our Butterflies and Borders lesson pack. And so we'll take this out and then we're going to go, we need a few supplies to create our card. Not too many. We're going to do a little bit of stamping for today's project, so you're going to need an acrylic block. I like a small one because since we have an alphabet stamp set, small ones seem to work better. And then to clean off your letters and your stamp, you're going to need some wipes. You're going to need a tape runner, scissors, and then you're going to need a craft pick. We're going to add some of those small hearts to our butterfly. So a craft pick works really well. And then I think that will do it. If you have a wax pencil or a jewel picker-upper, you might want to use that in case we use some sequins for a project. But let's set this aside and open up our lesson kit number 4. And we're going to jump right in with our project. Keep your bag because they're handy for storage. And we're going to jump right in. First, we're going to take this pattern paper here. I'm going to reinforce my card base. I'm going to flip this around and then we're going to add adhesive behind it. I'm going to use my tape runner. And then this is going to go down the center of my card base. So it's going to go top to bottom, and it's going to leave me about 1/8 of an inch on the left and the right of my card base. And that fits perfectly. If you have to trim a little bit off, you may have to do that. Sometimes my cut lines aren't the greatest. But once this is adhered, we're going to take our small ladder. And then we're going to flip this around using our fundamental glue. We're going to add glue around the top and bottom and edges, and then a few of the bars that are on the inside. You just want to thin them out because you don't want that glue oozing. Maybe a couple dots on the inside, just so it's nice and stationary. Good deal. And this ladder is going to go landscape on the very bottom of our card base. And you'll line up these bottom corners and just tack that down. Give it a few seconds. Almost looks like a baby crib. On the very bottom. And then that will be good for this. We're going to set this off to the side. And in our stack of pattern papers, we have a lot of thin strips. We're going to use all of those. So let's take our thin strips. We have polka dots, large polka dots. We have grid line. We have a zigzag pattern. And then we have a floral pattern here. So take all of those strips. And then using a tape runner, let me zoom in. Using a tape runner, take your white strip of cardstock, and it doesn't matter which side, add adhesive to it, and then we're going to create a pattern paper, a diagonal pattern paper. We're going to start by adding a little bit of polka dots, and I want this in the very corner, so I'm adding it so I can reuse this upper portion here. So I just put it at an angle. Your very first angle is going to show the angle of your diagonal stripes. So you want to make sure that you have a good angle on there. After we have our smaller polka dots, we can add our zigzag. And I'm adding this, butting it right up against that polka dot paper to where the longer end is on the top. Let's add some larger polka dots now. And then we can add, how about if we add our floral, and then we can add our grid, And then we're out of paper. So what we need to do is trim it off. We're going to flip it around. This is kind of fun. I always enjoy doing this. But we're taking your scissors and just following along that papered edge that's on the back side. Just do a little trimming. Trim it straight off. Go along this side. Trim this off. And do the same on the opposite side. Let them fall. Good deal. And now we have lots more pieces left over. So we had, last one was our grid. We're going to go ahead and take our polka dot. Let's bring back some polka dots. And maybe a stripe first. Let's bring back a stripe. Yeah, we'll bring back a stripe. And if you want to put that edge along the edge, there's less cutting because your edges will line up too. And then we can add, make sure you have some adhesive there. Add our last stripe here. There we go. Oh. And that's not tacking down too well. I think I'm missing my paper. There we go. Okay, now we're tacked down. And then we can flip it over and just do the same. We'll trim off the excess. I love doing this. I just love the effect that it gives too. Okay, so we can put all these pattern papers aside or toss them. And we have a really fun border background. After we have this done, we're going to open up our embellishment bag. Take everything out. And I have some pearls that want to stick to the inside of the bag. Okay. We are going to, I gave you an extra butterfly body in case one of yours broke, because they are kind of really delicate, but you only need one. So I'm going to put the other one back in the bag here. And then what we need to take is put everything else aside, and we're going to take our white butterfly, we're going to take the background, and then using some scratch paper, I'm actually going to use some scratch paper from our previous card. We're going to do the same thing that we did with the scratch paper. Using our blending brush and our ink, we're going to ink up the wings of the butterfly. And if you want it, you can do this any which way. If you want more orange on top and more pink on the bottom, you could do that as well. I'm going to use a little bit of tape on my fingers so they don't get inky. Flip them around. And then do the same thing to this side. I think that looks good. And we're going to set this aside so it gives it a little bit of time to dry. And we'll put our ink away here. And in the meantime, we'll put this away also. I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe off my brush a little bit. Just so when I store it that it doesn't ink up the rest of them. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take this paper here. Kind of looks like an index library card, recipe card maybe. I'm going to flip it this way, and we're going to bring in our stamps. And I want to stamp hello at the very top. So we'll take our H first and line this up on my acrylic block. And I'm using half pink, half of that middle orange. Ink this up here. And there are lines on this, so I think they're a little bit too low, but it's nice to use them as a guide. So I'm gonna I want to stamp hello right along the top here, and I'm gonna try to get it as even as I can. So there's my H, and then we'll grab the E. And if your lines aren't exactly straight and you want to go wonky, practice on a piece of, like you could go wonky if you wanted to, but make sure it's in this upper portion. But I'm going to go a straight line. H-E, oh, that one wasn't too even, but I think I can still get away with it. H-E, L, we're going to stamp twice. And then last we'll stamp our O. And we have hello. Not too bad. But I think it's a nice hello. Could be worse. Okay, so we have hello. We're actually going to adhere this to our card, so it is going to go the length of our card here. So let's go ahead and adhere that right now using our tape runner. I'm going to go about 1 inch up from the top, line it up from this edge here, and then we'll just tack it down. So that's tacked down. After we have this done, we're going to take our pattern paper and then our diagonal stripe that we created, our butterfly, and then also our mini scalloped edge. I'm going to flip over my panel and we're going to add adhesive behind it. We're going to tack our panel down to our scalloped piece. And I'm going down to the halfway mark. And I do have a little bit overhanging. Get it straight here. So I'll just use my scissors and trim that off. It's just a little bit, but I didn't want that white showing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take our striped edge that we created. Let's adhere this just above our scallop border there. And then using our butterfly pattern paper, let's add adhesive behind this. Am I out? No, not almost out. We're going to adhere this. We're going to tuck this right next to our striped edge. And it should be the same width as your pattern paper up here. After we have this portion done, we have twine in this kit. So I'm going to wrap it around the back. And then we're going to tie a bow off to the left. I think this cream twine goes with the pattern paper perfectly. That wasn't too tight. I'm going to do a redo. Sometimes your nails can get in the way. Okay, I'm going to line up my twine right along that seam. And then I can fix my bow so it's a little bit smaller. And then I'll trim the tails. I like trimming them in two different sections, so one's smaller, one's shorter, and one's longer. So we have our bow adhered. After we have this done, we're going to flip this panel over, and then using those foam circles that are in the kit, there's 6 of them. Let's use all 6 on the back of this. And then we can remove the release paper. Make sure they're down good. And then we can add this to our card base. And I think there is a good spot. And you can use the lines down here kind of as a guide with how to keep it straight. After we have this panel adhered, let's create our butterfly. I think it's just about dried now. I'm going to add a little thin bead of glue down the center, and then we can add our, fold this in half of course, and then add our butterfly over the top. Give it a second so it adheres. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue while we're at it. And then we're going to add our butterfly body. And to do that, it's very easy. Basically, you're just lining up the circle on the head of the butterfly here with the circle on the base butterfly. Just layer those together and it'll line up nicely. Make sure those wings fluff up. I don't want them to be glued down. While that's, I'm going to give that a second to tack and adhere. I'm going to take my take note, flip this around. I'm going to add, I don't know how many we can fit on here, maybe 3, maybe 4 of these small foam squares right behind the take note. And then we can remove the release paper here. And then for this one, I just want to tack it down here just below our scallop. Just for a little extra something. A little bit of that gray. And then we can flip over our butterfly. And I'm going to add just one of my foam squares. And this butterfly is going to go right in the center. We'll put it right in the center of our pink pattern paper. And then last but not, I'm going to put my extra foam square in my bag here. And then I can put this in my extra bag. I'm actually going to put, you can put your stencils in here too. Okay, to decorate the butterfly body, I'm going to take one of my pearls, pick that, oh, lost, see, that's why I give you 2, because mine went flying across the room, but you want to pick this up with your craft pick. I'm going to put this on the head of my butterfly, and then we have those small pearl hearts, and I'm going to add 3 just below. Just for a little bit of extra bells and whistles. Sometimes it's the little stuff that you do that just make the card extra special. Okay, make sure they're nice and even. I have one left, so that's going to go in my extra bag. And then we're going to bring back our sequins, and I'm going to add a few to this card too. I think we're going to add the purple, or not the, oh gosh, purple. I'm on, I don't know where I got purple from. I think we're going to add some blue. Nope, not the blue. Maybe some of the orange. No. We'll go white. Yeah, we're going to keep it subtle and go white. We're going to add a 2 up on top. A couple down here. Maybe one on top and two down here. Just a couple. I think that's gonna work. Just a little sparkle. Maybe below the butterfly is better. There we go. And then, once I'm happy with my placement, we can add some glue. Secure those sequins. And then that finishes off lesson number 4 of the Butterflies and Borders classroom. I think that's just about done, that tape runner. But I hope you enjoyed this month's classroom. I sure had a blast, and I hope you have some I hope you have lots of leftover product, which is my goal every time I make a kit. I want you to have something left over from I want you to have the sense of accomplishment once you finish your classroom, that you finished the kit, but I also want you to have some extra goodies, like you have a stamp and die set, which is really nice to customize. You could put somebody's name here if you wanted to. I think that's fabulous. But I'm going to go ahead and take my envelope, my last envelope, and my bag, and then we will just put everything, store it until it's ready to mail. And then that is lesson 4. Let's zoom out so you can see all of our lessons. I'll move my ink pad over there. So that's lesson 4. We'll go backwards. Lesson 3, lesson 2, and lesson 1. And these are all the projects we made this month with the Butterflies and Borders classroom. That you've been excellent students. Thank you so much. We will see you next month for a brand new classroom. Thanks for joining me. I'm not sure if lesson kits are still available for this classroom. I've been trying to make extra so I don't sell out so fast. If they are available, down in the description area, it'll say Butterflies and Borders lesson kit. Just click on the link and it will let you know if there's some available or not. But have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you real soon. Bye-bye.